Hello, 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 welcome to Firearms of America, and today we have another pair of awesome boots from Under Armour, and this is Infil Ops in GTX. Now these boots, I wanted to review them for a while, couldn't get a hold of them, until finally I did get a hold of him, and look how awesome they look. Typically I don't talk about the looks, as some of you may already know, in this channel, in my reviews, because looks are really personal. If you like the boots the way they look, you like it. Somebody else might not. It's all about the personal taste, but I think these boots look pretty freaking awesome. So this, as some of you already know, this is specifically for our ultimate survival boots section, so we do things a little bit differently whenever it comes to reviewing the boots. Basically what we do is we judge by 8 different criteria to see if these boots would be the good boots as your very last pair of the boots that you put on and you run out of your house and you walk and you swim and you fight, do whatever to survive. So it's that ultimate survival review. So the very first criteria that we're gonna talk about whenever it comes to these boots is the comfort level. And to test the comfort level, what I personally do is I take them on a 3-mile run, and then right after, without stopping, a 5-mile walk, and the total wear time of all this incident is about 8 hours. So it's just a lot of walking, a lot of running, and then just wearing these boots around without taking them off. So whenever it comes to the comfort level of these boots, I can give them a solid 9 out of 10. They are very, very comfortable. Now you will be surprised. They're not the lightest boots in this size category that I've seen, but and size category, I mean, the 8 inches to 10 inches, these ones are 10 inches, but nevertheless, you will be surprised how light they are for their size, for the amount of protection that they're offering, which we will talk about later, for, all the hardware that is on them. You will be surprised how light they are. It was fairly comfortable to run in this boot, and with boots you have to kind of consider compromises here and there, because it's boots after all. But it is comfortable to run in these boots. The bottom sole is not very flexible, so this is one of the things that is why I cannot give it a full 10 out of 10, because the bottom sole, I wish there was a little bit more flexibility in the bottom sole. If there was, I would have given them a 10 out of 10 on the comfort level. But just because the bottom sole is pretty stiff, if you do the running on a daily basis, you know how important it is to have that bottom sole on your sneakers flexible, so that you can run, on your tippy toes, so that there is no stress on your ankles, on your knees and stuff like that. With this boot, it is just under enough of that flexibility for the boots. Now obviously in the sneakers you would expect way more, but for the boots, just a little bit under. So Under Armour, if you're watching this review, you're probably not, but if you do, add a little bit of the flexibility on the bottom sole and it would be absolutely amazing. Alright, so let's move to the criteria number 2, which is proofing and protection. Now, as some of you may already know, these boots are GTX, which stands for GORE-TEX, and that means they are waterproof. Now, I did see a few complaints here and there, on the reviews on Amazon, saying that they're not waterproof. Don't listen to people, because, obviously if you stick this whole boot into the lake, they will get wet, because water will get through certain spots, obviously. So don't expect them to dive into a pool and not get wet. Obviously they will get wet. but if you do step in a puddle, which is about, what is this, about 5 inches, maybe less, a little bit more, probably a little bit more, you do see where they actually do have that waterproofing protection going on along the shaft. So they are good in there. Plus, one really cool thing about the GTX fabric is that it allows for a lot of breathability as well. It's a waterproof fabric, but at the same time breathable. I do like it for breathability. I'm not really that huge on waterproofing because honestly, to me, it is more important that the boot dries up quicker, you know, instead of, you know, worrying about whether it's gonna be waterproof or not. Again, it's a personal preference, you know, it's different. But nevertheless, the breathability is really nice to have, especially me here in Florida, running in 100, you know, 100 something degrees. Definitely matters. Makes a difference. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some other protection here and there. And as you can see, there is some, and it is pretty good. It does actually. It's not just a, you know, a silly design feature which makes nothing. No, this is actually a hard rubber. So if you do drop something, you know, a hammer or whatever, it will protect you. It is pretty strong. It is pretty good. Also, I would notice obviously the bottom sole, because it's not very flexible. This is one of the reasons why it is not very flexible, is because it is so tough. You know, it will definitely protect you from penetration stepping on, you know, a sharp rock or whatever sharp that you can find on your way. So definitely good protection on the bottom as well. And we do have a little bit of protection here on the heel, not too high, not going on too high, because here we start to have a soft material, but this plastic right here is pretty tough. Now, one thing I wanted to point out to Under Armour, if you guys are watching this video, which you're probably not, but if you are, this thing right here looks really cool, yes, and it's a nice heavy plastic, and I guess it will protect your heel somehow, but I wish that this went just a little bit higher up here so that it did work as an ankle protection, because in this boot you have no ankle protection at all. Here your ankle bone is just exposed in both sides. So this is just the only area that, you know, this boot underperforms. So again, you know, I could give this boots 10 out of 10 whenever it comes to protection, which I never gave it to any boots 10 out of 10 because, you know, there's always a weak spot. But here with this boots, I'd give it 8 out of 10. And one of the main reasons for that is because there is, like, your ankle is completely exposed. And this is really a pretty soft material. Speaking of the material, let's come back to criteria number one, the comfort level. I completely forgot to mention something really cool, and this something really cool is the inner sole. It's a Capron, and I don't know if you guys heard of it. The Capron basically, it's very similar to Ortholite in Salomon. It's sort of firm, but at the same time very jelly. So it's very nice. It feels really good. It takes a lot of impact. But another cool feature of this particular inner sole is that it somehow creates that antibacterial environment there. So, you know, if your feet do get sweaty, the bacteria is not going to spread somehow. I don't know. Don't ask me. This is the Under Armour technology, however they made it. But that's what they advertise, and I thought I would mention it because it kind of goes both ways. It goes to comfort level, and it also goes to protection because it will protect you from the bacteria. Yeah. Good to know. Okay, let's talk about the criteria number 3, which is the quality and the design feature. Now, quality-wise, I have not seen any serious complaints with the boots falling apart anywhere in the reviews. And at the same time, personally, I have not seen anything myself with the boots that are wrong, which would indicate the poor quality, you know, the glue, something being unglued or something like that. No problems like that at all. Whenever it comes to design features, I wanted to point out a few things here and there. First of all, the hardware, right? The hardware is, as you can see, there are 2 pairs of closed hooks, and then there are 4 pairs of open hooks. Now, 4 pairs is not usual. It's not usual. Most of the times you see 2 pairs of open hooks, and then everything else is closed. But I guess Under Armour decided to do something a little bit differently here. But one cool thing though is that this sort of design, it allows for a much faster, you know, putting on the boots, putting on and taking them off, because you just quickly, and this, it really takes no time to put this boots on, so pretty good. But one thing I wanted to tell again, Under Armour, if you guys are watching it, which you're probably not, try, it's not really gonna take anything to do it, right? With this hook, which is the very first one, try making it a little bit tighter so that whenever you get the string in, it catches on it and you can like release it, because right now it's not holding it at all. As you can see, it's literally just a hook. But if you make it a little bit tighter, maybe add some grooves in there so that the string can actually clip in there and hold, it will create that two separate tightening areas. So now this is tightened and it's holding here, right, on this hook, and now you can tighten this area, so you can kind of allow and make it easier. You can do it now, you can make it this one tighter and this one not as tight. But if this was, you know, the way I'm describing it, which there is probably a name for it, because I know Salomon, they have a same system going on a few of their boots, but implementing that would be really, really nice. Okay, done with my suggestions to Under Armour. Let's talk about the number 4, which is, I think, very important. It's the outsole, traction, and stability. And look at this bottom sole. I absolutely love it. I think Under Armour did a just amazing job with the design of this bottom sole. The combination is just honestly a perfect combination of the aggression and flatness. And what it means is that you will do good on flat surfaces, shiny surfaces like tile and marble or whatever. You know, if you need to run through something like that, it's not going to be slippery. They're not slip resistant. At least they're not advertised as slip resistant, but they will perform pretty good on those surfaces. But at the same time, they will be really good on the surfaces that require that aggression, like for example wet grass, where you want the bottom sole just to bite into the terrain so that you can just speed through that terrain without any problems. Surfaces like sand, which I personally tested them on, is the sand, it's the wet grass, mud, rocky road, you know, the tarmac. They just perform, I mean, they're just really good, really good. Whenever it comes to that balance of all these different terrains, they perform very well. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't remember if I ever gave a 10 out of 10, but honestly, I think these boots do deserve a 10 out of 10 whenever it comes to, you know, to the bottom sole. It's really, really good. I mean, obviously, because of that bottom sole, you have an amazing traction, you have a great stability, so all of these things you just get to enjoy in this boot. Okay, so criteria number 5, which is the temperature. Now, obviously, me being in Florida, I was able to test them in a very, very hot temperature. It was 100 something degrees outside whenever I was running, so it was pretty tough. Pretty tough to run, but my feet did not overheat, which is really nice, you know, because for this size you would expect to be, you know, on the hot side, but these boots are very breathable, probably thanks to that Gore-Tex fabric. I'm not entirely sure how they would perform in the cold, but I would say if you can get a hold of, you know, a good insulated socks, these boots would be fine in some colder temperatures. I'm not talking about extreme like -40 or anything, but probably in the zeros they would do just fine with some good insulated socks. Plus they are, you know, waterproof, so kind of goes along very good. Now let's talk about the number 6, is the sizing. Now the sizing, these boots are definitely true to the size. I got them in the size 10. Usually all my shoes I get in size 9.5, which is my size, and then all my boots I get in a half a size larger, and then just a recommendation that I got from one of my professional hiker friends. So I decided to stick with it, and I think it's a really good recommendation because it allows you, whenever you're running, whenever you're walking downhill, you get just a little bit of that extra space in the toe, and it prevents your toe from smashing into the front of the boot and kind of is good, you know. It's good, but they're definitely true to the size, so that's good to know. Number 7 is the balance of application, and I think this is sort of the culmination of this whole review, because the balance of application is really what says that these boots are good or not good as the survival boots. You know, if that was your last boot, if something bad happened, you know, today or tomorrow, and you had the last pair of shoe wear, hopefully boots, right, to put on, and this was that last boot that you put on, and you ran out of your house, and you ran and ran and walked and through all of these different terrains, through mud, through grass, through the trails, through the woods, and somewhere along the way you had to climb a rock, and then maybe you had a fight, and then maybe you had to, I don't know, do whatever. Just imagine your survival scenario, right? Imagine. Would these boots be that good pair of boots that will allow you? That it's not going to be the sole, obviously not the only thing. It's not just about the boots, but at the same time they definitely do contribute to that survival. Would they be good? I think these boots so far definitely make it the top 10 of all the boots that I have so far reviewed, and I did review a lot, and there was some pretty cool boots along the way, but I think these boots definitely make it the top 10 of the ultimate survival boots on Firearms of America channel. I think they are great. They do offer, you know, not 100% of the protection, nothing in the ankles right here, but at the same time it's kind of unrealistic to expect that 100% of protection, right? Because, you know, how far of the protection can you expect from the boots? Do you expect everything to just be like this hard plastic, which is still penetratable? You know, it's protection from what? Maybe from a falling rock, yes, but from a bullet, not really. So can't really, you know. And then even if the whole thing is just bulletproof and everything, you still have things above the boot that are not protected. So it's kind of like a philosophical discussion there, right? But at the same time, these boots are light, all right. So they do offer you that mobility. They do have a very versatile bottom sole, so they do offer you that, you know, just being able to go through different terrains, pretty much being prepared for anything, right? Waterproofing is a plus. So overall, with all of this, I think Under Armour created a boot that is very nicely balanced, right? A few things here and there, like I said, just a little bit of extra plastic here to protect ankles. I think it wouldn't add to the weight or anything like that. Maybe creating that two stage or two section tightening system with these hooks. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, this hardware right here is plastic. It is a heavy duty plastic. It didn't create any problems for me, and I have not seen anyone complaining about them, but it is plastic nevertheless, you know, which obviously adds, you know, to the weight, or takes it away from the weight, because if this hardware was metal, it would have been heavier. But I thought it was important to mention it here. So whenever it comes to the balance of application, I would give these boots a solid 9 out of 10, which is very high score in this particular department, because this department is very important. Honestly, I really love these boots. You know, maybe not even the top 10, maybe even the top 5. That's how much I like these boots. But there is still one thing that can turn everybody away from these boots. And this is the criteria number 8, the price. Now, the price of these boots is pretty bitey. It is $250 currently on Amazon, and the link is in the description below. Check it just to verify, because, you know, I create my boots today, this review, tomorrow they can drop the price 10%, you never know. So just verify, double check it. But as of today, these boots are $250 on Amazon. Currently they do come in 2 different colors. If you're interested, it's this one, which cool camo color, and there's also the full black, which if you're, you know, interested more in the tactical layout, right, tactical design, you would be interested in those a little bit better. I have not seen any fluctuations in price between the sizes and the colors, but again, it really depends, so don't take my word for it. Go to the link in the description below and check it out for yourself. $250, I think it's a fair price for this boot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying these boots are not worth $250. They're definitely worth 250 bucks. But here's the thing. In that category, in that $250 category, there is a lot of competition. There is Salomon, there is some cool Keen boots. There's just a lot of different, even just the Salomon. They have the 4D GTX, they have the Quest Prime, they have Quest 4D. So it gets very crowded over there, and they're all amazing boots. So you know, you do really have to like these boots in order to not go with something else out there. So this review came out pretty long already, so I think I'm gonna stop it at that. Let me guys know what you think about these boots. Like I said, personally, I really do like it, and it's very close with all the other boots out there that I have reviewed so far. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any requests for the boots, I love to hear those, because I want to know what you guys want to see, and I will try to get, you know, my hands on those boots and check them out and do the review on those. So if you found this review, you know, useful, make sure to subscribe. This is still a new channel, we're still growing, so every subscriber definitely counts. Thank you very much guys for watching my review. This was Firearms of America, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.